Hello.
Hi. We're getting started just so chickens decide to cause a ruckus.
Well, I was kind of wondering if there's a hawk out there.
Well,
You
from
know.
my vantage point, the goats seem unfazed, so I'm going to assume that it's a false alarm.
Okay. Well, hey, everybody. We're talking chickens, goats, and hawks.
And cats with UFOs.
Which
Hilarious.
is perfect for today's topic, which is this or that.
Yes,
And we're
it
going
is.
to explain more on what in the world do we mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm Michelle with Moksha Grace Coaching.
And
Nice
I'm
for you to be
Krista
here.
with Wicked Wisdom Consulting. What'd you say?
I said, nice for you all to be here and joining us today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you're here, comment. Let us know that you're here, because it doesn't tell us who's joining us. And comment along,
And share,
share,
like,
follow,
yeah,
subscribe,
like,
all that.
share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Because you don't want to ever miss one of our shockingly delightfuls.
No, they'll be fine. I'm sure. I'm sure the chickens are fine.
Okay. So today's topic is really, I mean, it's this or that, but
Mm-hmm.
really it's duality, right?
Yeah.
It's looking at things the same thing in two different ways,
Mm-hmm.
whichever way serves you best.
Mm-hmm.
And just because it's the way you've always looked at something doesn't mean that you have to continue to look at something that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, my favorite example is prepping, right? Prepping for hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not prepping for a hurricane because I'm scared to death that the world's going to come to an end or we're going to get a Cat 5 and
Right.
the house is going to, God forbid, blow away. I'm prepping because I live in Florida my entire life and hurricanes are factual. They are something that happens every single season. And for me not to have certain things on hand, like batteries, no, not toilet paper, people. Um,
I mean, it's good. I mean, honestly, like, at what point do you have so little toilet paper that if a hurricane comes through, you're gonna run out? Because, like, newsflash, like, you're gonna be able to get toilet paper. You're fine. But I get what you're saying. You know, it's not like you don't prep because you're worried that everything's gonna go to shit. It's more that you're prepping so that you don't have to go without necessities. I mean, I think that, I mean, that's the same thing with, like, even, there's those preppers that prep for other natural disasters. And it's like, okay, so they don't want to go without food. Why would that be a bad thing? If they have the means, okay, fantastic. You
right,
build a bunker under the ground. Okay, great. I love
right,
it. Do you? I'd do it if I had the money.
right. However, right, that's the healthy way to look at it. The way to look at it that's out of love, right? Love for ourselves. We're being radically
I love
responsible.
eating and I love having everything has energy so I can use devices. And I love the AC when I have a generator. And I love having my fridge run.
Right. Very different from, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. We have to buy, a case of toilet paper and we have to get out of town. We should move and be so fearful that we should barricade ourselves, uh, you know, into the house or
Mm-hmm.
what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other side, right?
Yeah.
This or that. Which one do you want to be? Do you want to uh, um, take action from a place of fear,
Mm-hmm.
or do you want to take action from a place of, being logical and practical and loving yourself and loving your family to be responsible enough to have those things on hand?
Well, and the reason to take a look at this is because what you focus on is obviously what you see more of, which is why I think it's so interesting that social media sites right now are just like, there are so many accounts that I do not follow. I've never interacted with anything like it, but they are just chit chatting and posting constantly about how I call it Heine, how Heine is coming back around, H1N1. And there's, the mega this and the quad this and the watch out, everyone's going to get ill. And it's winter, folks.
It's
It's winter.
winter and people get sick, and there's the flu that has been a natural thing, and a cold. Have Do some people get sicker than others? Yes, absolutely. Guess what? Take care of your body.
Yeah.
Be on the side of prepping out of love for your body,
Hmm.
which looks like eating good food,
Moving your body
moving your body, taking supplements
to boost
if
immunity.
to boost immunity. Whenever I am out and about, I come home and it's like a 2 or 3 day regimen.
Hmm.
And it's also trusting and having faith in your body that you're going to stay well.
It's also your mindset, isn't it? So if
Yeah.
you're constantly saying to yourself, "Oh God, I don't know, I don't feel good," or "Oh God, I just know if I go out, I'm going to get sick,"
Mhm.
or "Oh God, that person I was with, they kept sneezing. I bet they were sick right now. I'm going to get it too. I have a little bit of a tickle in my throat. Oh God, I must be getting
Mhm.
sick." Not to mention there's countless allergens in the air right now.
Yeah,
So everyone's
absolutely.
allergies are off the charts. But no, I'm getting sick.
So take your supplements just in case,
Yeah.
and be practical about it.
Hmm.
Um,
This is not medical advice.
no, yeah, we're
Just to put that disclaimer there.
we don't play doctors on TV. We're not medical doctors, but we are pragmatic, and we do understand how our bodies work. And maybe you could just try staying well and not putting yourself in situations like little sleep, and then
Lots of sugar,
stressing,
like
lots of
Christmas
sugar.
cookies and
Right.
candies from the stocking, and running off of caffeine and those Christmas cookies and candies from the stockings. And yeah. And honestly, Raymond, this is a great question. He
Mhm.
said, "Here's my thought about it. If the world comes to an end, how do you know that you'd survive after all that prepping? How do you know that you'd survive long enough to use that supply?" And the answer is you don't. And that's why it's like, if you got the means to do it, fantastic, go for it.
Yeah.
Run with it, do your thing. There's no guarantee either way.
Mhm.
But what if it does make the difference? And
Yeah.
you have the means for it, go for it.
And what if I have like 50 tomatoes and I can't eat that many? And so now I'm helping my neighbors that also survived potentially. And then they have some other stuff that they can, potentially give me. So I'm not just eating tomatoes. Maybe they grew green beans.
Yeah.
And so now we're doing the bartering system. So, and if I know that there's a cold winter storm brewing and coming my way, which, talking about the shapes of the storms, I saw that last night and I was like, what the heck? But anyway, there's these freakish winter storms that are coming. Well, it would be un irresponsible, not irresponsible to not have some type of warming element or way to warm yourself, your house or what have you.
Mhm.
So it's the same. You're prepping for where you live. You're prepping for the events that where you live encounter.
Well, I
And
don't want to
so,
just focus. It feels like you're really focusing on natural disasters. So let's get off the
well,
natural disaster thing. In general, this or
in
that, love or fear. There's a lot that goes into that, especially with just life and existence right now.
Well, and the only reason I was using that as an example is it's because the easiest to wrap your head around, and it's the less controversial.
I don't
Controversial.
care about that. Why do you care about that?
Okay, well, then the other thing is all this BS that's happening with all of these people, somehow driving their cars and doing damage and unlifing people. And how do you prep for that? And do you prep for
Enough with
that?
the prep. What is with the prepping? It's like your mind is going to, how do I prep for it? The title of this episode is this or that, not how to prep 101.
Okay, so you can either get caught up in the minutia of the fear and the fear mongering, and or you can focus on the love that's also happening in the world right now. Is that better?
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay.
Because
You
there
can.
is plenty of love going on in the world right now. There are babies being born every second. There are people getting married every however often that statistic is. There's people getting engaged every day. There's people celebrating wonderful new exciting things happening to them every single day. And if you pay attention to what I like to do is pay attention to what my social media accounts are forcing in front of my view. And so if I notice that there's a stark change in content becoming very fear based, I know that the higher ups want us to be in fear mode. And why is that? That's because fear makes you easy to control. It makes it easier to manipulate you, because when you're in fear mode, all you're focused on is survival. You can't focus on other things. And so you'll take the medicine that's handed to you, and you'll agree to things that you otherwise wouldn't agree to, and you'll disagree to things that you normally wouldn't disagree to, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And also being in a state of fear and that stress that and anxiety that comes with it also makes it more likely that you will get sick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because
wellness is,
fear lowers
yes.
your immunity, and that's I'm pretty sure like a scientific proven. That's not a woo woo thing, even though it very much is a woo woo thing. That I'm pretty confident is based in science.
Yeah. And being in love, right? Functioning from a space of love,
Mhm,
functioning from a space of, just wanting to do good for others and do good for yourself is going to put you in a higher level vibration, a higher energy energetically. And therefore, you're also going to attract like-minded, like tribe. And you feel better. You are more motivated. You have more energy,
mhm,
and so that's what you want to surround yourself with, especially in these days and times.
mhm.
Um,
It's interesting too that we talk a lot about the winter months. It's yes, it's cold, but more of the reason people get sick is because of the sugar intake. They're eating a
mhm,
little bit more sloppily. But I think it's also important to note that most people are spending time with those who they otherwise wouldn't, whether it's due
mhm.
to conflicting personalities and arguments and just emotional disconnection. And I think that's a really interesting connection that's not talked about enough. Is it's not just the sugars and the sweets, but it's also that energetic dishevelment that happens when we spend time and share energy with those that aren't necessarily aligned with us.
Absolutely, because our emotions cause us dis-ease, and
Mm-hmm.
so therefore make us more likely
Mm-hmm.
to allow that into our vessel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our body
Yeah.
that we're carrying around. So that's why we have to be so careful
Mm-hmm.
to maintain, or I don't want to say careful. I'm going to say vigilant.
Mindful.
Vigilant and mindful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And responsible for
Well,
yourself.
because think about it, what better way to get people into a fear state than to threaten their physical body? The reason that they are here on earth. What better way to instantly get someone into a fear state than to threaten this?
Mhm. Right.
Hmm.
And again, when that's done, then that allows whatever's
Hmm.
going around
Hmm.
to go around at a
Yeah.
faster rate. And the people that have a lower immunity because of a chronic illness or something like that, they are the ones that are going to get ill. And
Hmm.
so we also have to be mindful of that. And if you are feeling like you don't feel well and you have a scratchy throat, sit your ass back on your couch and stay home and drink some hot tea. Don't go out.
Hmm.
Don't go to work. Call out. And I don't give a rat's
Asses rats, as they say in Pirates of the Caribbean.
ass is rats. Um what your bosses, I mean, I know that people are forced to come to work sick because, oh, you can only take so many days off or what have you. If we don't push back, if we don't say, but now you want me to come and bring this to work so that other people get sick that
Mhm.
work here, and so then everyone has to call out, because
Yeah.
that is not exactly the most efficient way to do
Yeah.
things.
Well, and it always drove me crazy. You know, we would hear and see often at even our local children's hospital where, you know, hospitals are big ones where like you can't call out, you have but a few days where you can call out if you're sick. So that means that you've got nurses and
Mhm,
doctors and
mhm,
technicians and CNAs on the oncology units
mhm. Yeah.
ill.
Yes.
So, and if you're not familiar with that terminology, oncology is cancer. Those with going through cancer treatment have much, like, extremely low immune system, and in some cases their immune systems are completely wiped. Like in my case, when I was going through treatment,
Right.
and you've got people who feel the need because they really, it's not they feel the need, they have no choice but to show up to work ill,
Mhm.
potentially threatening, not potentially threatening the lives of every patient on that unit. And not only that, not only from them, but in getting the patient's families sick.
Right. And I will say this because I was one of the ones back in the day that had to wear a mask because I would not take a flu jab. Uh, and I was literally told by the upper ups,
Mm-hmm.
the upper ups
Mm-hmm.
in healthcare, that the mask does
Yeah.
nothing. What the mask does do is it would prevent me from touching things that were contaminated and then touching my face.
Yeah. So guess who
That
never got sick?
Right. That's what helped me. It wasn't because I was wearing a mask or I wasn't wearing a mask or got a of whatever, a jab. Um, it was actually because I was preventing my hands from touching my face until I washed my hands
Yeah.
and then would go back to my office where only my
Mm-hmm.
surroundings, my germs, whatever, were around me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the mask is effective. It's not effective because it's blocking you
And we're talking about
breathing.
basic masks here.
Yeah,
Obviously, if
we're
you get
not.
a more specific mask because you're a
Yes,
healthcare worker and blah 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 blah, that's the special. Okay, yeah, most people don't have those.
right. My point is that if you're sick, don't think that you're just going to put a mask on and protect yourself and protect everyone around you because you're wearing a mask and you're going to go out anyway and cough and sneeze into your mask, because that doesn't work.
And can we just also like discuss the CO2 inhalation from wearing masks? And that's not good. And also regarding the jab, maybe people haven't been looking at the right sources because yeah, they have been trying to keep it quiet, but like that previous jab literally has been revealed by the producers of the jab to be ineffective. It was entirely ineffective, and not only that, but it completely is causing like just um,
Chaos
different
in
health,
bodies.
well, chaos and lower immunity in those who got it. Is causing long term. I mean, we know a few people who've had some major health conditions due to getting that jab.
Right. That it's actually made things worse. And so,
Yeah.
my point has always been, and I used to say this to my mom before she passed. Her body, when there was no jabs. This was before jabs. That woman never stopped
Well,
going.
before the modern jabs.
Right.
Yeah.
She never stopped going out. She never stopped using Uber. She went to restaurants. She did everything that she wanted to do, without a care in the world. And the woman didn't get sick. Um,
Hmm.
and and
But what
her
happened when
body
she started?
protected.
What happened when she started to do certain things that were recommended? She started
Well,
to not feel well at a very progressive rate.
and
And
three
here's
years.
the thing that drives me crazy is just us having this conversation will label us an anti jabber, which is so silly because the entire premise of science, the entire premise of of developing science is asking questions. It's challenging beliefs that are held. It's not just taking one thing and going, that is the ultimate truth.
Right.
That's not how science works. Science
Right.
works by challenging. Science works by asking questions. I just
Yep.
saw a thing earlier about a chemical that was being sprayed on crops for the last, I think it said 15 years.
Hmm.
It was deemed safe by one of our governmental overseers, and it just recently was immediately, like, they said immediately stop using it because
Hmm.
they were seeing that the effects from it actually were causing a lot of very detrimental effects to children and developmental issues and things like that.
Right.
And so we have to ask questions. We have
We
to
have to.
challenge the what we're told. The entire premise of being human and growing and expanding and developing is asking questions. It is
My
challenging.
my favorite is when people say, "Well, but I did my research. I went and I looked on the CDC. I did. I researched. I went on the
Well,
WHO.
but think about it this way.
I went on the WHO website."
Think about, let's look at why that happens. That happens because when we're growing up, we are put into a school system who punishes you for asking questions. They
Yeah.
punish you for challenging the teacher. They
Yeah.
punish you for wanting to research and look at things beyond the scope of what they want you to look at.
Right.
And so it's no wonder that we've gotten to a point in society where there are a lot of people who are genuinely, they don't, it's really, they genuinely don't know how to think outside the box and how to challenge authority and things like that, because they literally were broken down
Hmm.
in primary school to not be that way.
Yeah. And it's always interesting, like, my, thoughts on, if you're going to do your research, don't go to the same, like, the same government that's pushing out the narrative, the same narrative,
Right.
because you're going to get the same information. And so that's why when I look for information, I go 3 or 4 Google pages deep in a search, or I get off of Google
I mean,
altogether
but
and go outside.
you can't even make those recommendations anymore. It really just has to, you have to be willing to look at information that is not what's coming from mainstream. You have to basically, the better way to look at it is not, 4 or 5 pages deep in Google, but it's going, okay, what did the mainstream media, and that's ABC, that's Fox, that's CBS, that's all, those kind of,
Right.
what is the information that they're putting out? I'm looking up the opposite. I want to see what the narrative is for the opposite
Yeah.
information. I want to look at what is related to this that I can look up that's different from what mainstream is telling me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm going to necessarily believe that, but I want to see the whole picture, because if I just look up what mainstream is telling me, all it's going to show me more of what mainstream is telling me, because they all have the same script. And if you don't think they all have the same script, I'm sorry, but you're kind of living under a rock.
Well, and there's been multiple videos
Hmm.
showing
Right.
newscasters using a script that says the same, literally the same exact things
Yeah.
in the same exact way.
Right, literally verbatim, because it is all a script for
Right.
an entertainment network. The news is not news, it's entertainment network. If the news were truly news, you would have an equal balance of good and bad things, and honestly, probably way more good things than bad things.
Hmm.
And honestly, they probably wouldn't be showing you the bad things, because they would know that scientifically that's going to lower your vibration, it's going to lower your energy, it's going to lower your immune system, et cetera, et cetera. There's no bounds to the negativity that something like that produces in the human body.
Yeah.
And so, all of this to say, January is going to be a really wild month. There's going to be a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things happening. Just today, the Prime Minister of Canada is resigning. That's official. He made his announcement. So that's
Really?
going to be a massive change. Yes, there are some predictions on what's going to happen there. So there's some shifting happening in Canada. We're having big things.
51st state.
We're having some big things happening, obviously, in the United States.
Yeah.
And, we have a lot of different health scares and warnings and things coming out. And you have the choice if you want to live in love or fear, if you
See?
want to live in
Answer that.
wellness or illness, if you want to live in freedom or captivity. All of these are really the basis of everything that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And as you
Absolutely.
say, in every moment of presence, we all have choices. So you can either make it a good day or a bad day. It's all about the choice you make. You can either be well or you can be ill. All about the choice you want to make.
Mm-hmm.
You can be free or you can be held captive. You can be in love or you can be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Completely our choice. And it's a tough pill to swallow, but it really is the truth.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say is really tap into your intuition and those gut feelings, because if you are out and about because things are happening in like the craziest places, like things you wouldn't expect, if something feels off, if someone feels off, leave, move, get the hell out,
Mm-hmm.
go somewhere else. Stay home for right now, not because of fear, but because
It's about choosing
right
yourself.
now things are crazy. You're not going to go out in the middle of a freaking lightning storm.
Mm-hmm.
Just there's a lightning storm going on right now. So it would just be smart to head on a swivel,
Be mindful.
be
That's all
mindful,
it comes down to.
feel the energy. And if something's off, if something's telling you not to do something, just listen to yourself, because you know what? You have everything inside of you that is
Yeah.
going to guide you where you need to be and not be.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen.
Yeah.
And just remember, it's this or that. And you get to choose those things. And just don't go along with the narrative just because it's what you've always done,
Yeah.
because these are uncertain times and it's all new. There are no rules. The rules are being thrown out and recreated.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And if you had a miserable time the last 4 years, make different choices this year.
yeah.
And I'm just gonna let's leave it at that. We'll see y'all next. Well, we'll see you Thursday for Moment of Presence. We'll see you next week for the next episode of Shocking and Delightful. Like, subscribe, follow, share, comment, all that good stuff. Michelle, where can they find you?
mokshagrace.com and anywhere on social media, Moksha Grace. And I am doing one more week of my free group coaching on Thursday night. So if you would like to join the community for free on me, my gift to you because of all of this craziness, please join me for group coaching on Thursday night.
Sweet. And y'all can
Where can
find
they
me
find you?
here. You can find me here on Shockingly Delightful on Thursdays on Moment of Presence. My website is above, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yes, we will. Thanks, Raymond. See you later. Bye.